Hi everyone, quickly checking in. So I just wanted to let you know that this fan and that fan are both industrial fans, and they're pointing at the laser when I'm using it, blowing the air out right here about 2 feet from me on the door to the main street. Okay, so I have proper ventilation, and I am also looking at this direction, not even corner of my eye, and the laser can't mess vision. Okay, so if I have to look in the laser, I have these glasses, they're proper glasses, and that's what I'm using when I have to look into the laser. So thank you for all your concerns, but I am applying as much PPE as I feel comfortable with for my own health, okay? And I advise you to do the same. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and here is the update on the laser. Hi everyone, welcome to AeginaCraft. In this video, we're gonna talk about this laser engraver. This is a 2-3's something TTS 10 Pro thing, I think. I'm not affiliated with the company whatsoever. They sent me a sponsor link after I asked about what they have and what support they provide and all that jazz. But I'm not gonna include it in this video because this is an independent video sponsored by you, the viewer. You can sponsor this channel by buying stuff from my web shop, AeginaCraft.com, or supporting me on buymeacoffee.com. It's kind of like Patreon, but I get more and they take less. You can become a monthly supporter, or you can occasionally throw some money at me to, hey, you idiot, buy yourself a coffee or food, you know? So yeah, that's my tip jar or something like that. Anyway, everything is sponsored by you, so I don't have to shield or do anything, you know, talking points and all that jazz. So this is basically my raw first week experience, and this video, my goal with this video is to have a video for beginners, what they watch before they actually do anything with their laser cutter engraver machine, and they can get like some basic knowledge on how to deal with things and how to sort things out. So let's get into this, shall we? First of all, let's start with the machine itself. Now, it was really easy to assemble. The manual was actually well done. It's a Chinese company, so you know, sometimes you don't get the English manual properly done, but this was actually quite nice. I just followed the steps, done the steps. I made a video on my notes on the assembly. Now once I assembled it, it was time to set it up, and there was a section in the manual where you actually have to set up things, and it was quite easy to set up. So what you had to do is they give you a pen drive, and it has files on it, and it has like folders, numbered folders, and you do every folder in sequence, and you install the driver, download the software, do the tests and everything. Meanwhile, manually you set up the distances and the small bits. Now, first thing I noticed was that it says you have to have, I don't know if you can see it right, but you have to have a 5mm distance with the head from the machine itself. Now, it is tightened with 2 thumb nuts, thumb screws to the body. Let me just undo it and explain what's what. So this is the laser, okay? Has 4 rods on it, and this head unit where I connected up my air assist pump, which is basically just an aquarium pump pushing air through a hose next to the laser hole to keep the cut clean and not to get flames or something. Anyway, so the manual said you have to have a 5mm gap between the two, and I had no idea why. I read the manual the night before, and I was anxious about like how the hell I'm gonna measure out the 5mm. Well, it turns out it has like these notches. You can just attach it, go to the notch, tighten it down, and ta-da, you have 5mm. It's like half a centimeter. It's exactly half a centimeter. Now, why you have this? Because the crown of the laser is right there, and that needs cooling. And there are cooling fins here, which is actually cooling this unit down. That's why you need the gap, which is understandable. Now, this you have to make sure you have this gap on the open lasers like this. This is not the only open laser brand, but this is one of them. And yeah, I think you should make sure that you have this down. Anyhow, doesn't matter. The other thing is I was anxious about is how to measure out the distance between the head unit and the thing you're actually working on. Okay, now I got this repurposed baking tray as the sacrificial piece or the base unit. We're gonna talk about this later. And I was like, how do you do this? Now you got this Attalon, which is like a machined aluminum cylinder with these steps on the top. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it. I really hope you can see it. And you put this down, and if you go to the top level, that's engraving. The first level is cutting wood. The third level is engraving metal. Fourth level is cutting metal, or no, cutting leather, or whatever. You know, it says in the manual. But I was very anxious about if I can get it right to the point, because I have two settings in my brain. Either I'm extremely meticulous and I have to have everything exactly to the micron machining, like exactly to the micron distance. That is one setting of my brain, and the other setting is the I don't care. Let's just ballpark it setting of my brain, and it is really dangerous because I I tend to mix up the two. Anyway, what I'm getting here is I was very anxious. What happens if I mess up the distances, and what happens if I just a tad bit taller, or a tad bit the laser is in a tad bit higher position or a tad bit lower position? What will happen, and if I'm going to mess up the procedure and the product and everything? Now listen, you can have a error, whatchamacallit, distance. So if you are 1 micron higher or 1 micron lower, or 0.5 millimeter higher, 0.5 millimeter lower, doesn't matter, okay? It's still gonna engrave, still gonna cut perfectly fine. You just have to be in the ballpark, okay? You don't have to do it to the 1,000th of a millimeter exactly. Okay, so it's not that exact. The other thing I learned about, and I wanted to mention, is the fumes. Now, hold on. So I was working with these plywood boards, okay? And I don't know, many of you already know, but plywood is basically consists of a very thin sheet of actual wood on both sides, and in between you got glued together wood fiber or sawdust. And while you are engraving wood, it smells like burned wood. Many channels say, "Oh my God, the fumes are so toxic and dangerous, and this and that," and ew. No, don't, like, Jesus Christ, come on now. Like, burned wood is one of the most ancient smells and things we inhaled as a race. Like, it's not gonna hurt you. However, when you're cutting through this thing, you're gonna cut through glue, and that smells bad. That has this resiny, acidic smell. And under the cut, like when you put this on the sacrificial board like that, under the cut you're gonna get this gooey residue burned onto the metal. So yeah, fumes. Back to the fumes. I would recommend you to actually point the fan at the unit and get it close to a door or something. You can exist in the same space. You don't have to get ducting and very special, like active carbon filter, enclosed space, door. No, come on now, it's just smoke. Yeah, it's bad, smells bad, but just point the fan at it, get it close to a window. It should be fine. You will be fine. I mean, we smell much worse things when you are in the city walking down. In my opinion, anyway. I'm not a scientist, but just smoke. Okay. Now, when I don't have the fan pointing at it, it gets bad. So, yeah, my advice: you don't have to be extremely over the top crazy about this. But I'm a guy who never wears gloves, so who am I to tell you what to do? I'm fine with the smoke. If you don't like it, get ducting or anything. I don't care about it too much. If it smells really bad, I just point another fan at it and it goes out. So it's fine. Particles. Yeah. When you cut, it creates a dust of soot. A very, very fine dust of soot. And it covers everything around it. But it's in a very thin layer. Okay. So you wouldn't notice it until you cut through about 10 hours worth of stuff, okay? Then you're gonna have this dust everywhere, and just for that reason, I would get an enclosed area or thing for it. If you are, look, my shop is my workshop, my office, my everything, and I don't care. I just get a rag and clean up, but like if you are in a sensitive area or you're allergic to dust or whatever, get a box, put it in there. Clean up mess. Yes. So cleaning up the mess after it's very easy. You just wipe it down with the microfiber. And also you can wipe down the piece with a microfiber. Should be all right. Setup of pictures. Matching the original, smaller pictures, less fine. Okay, hold on. Now, let's get to the software part of things. This specific machine comes with two softwares. One is called Gerbl, G-R-B-L, and that is a free laser engraver software. And that comes on the pen drive of this Tutories product. And the other one that comes with it is called Lightburn. Lightburn. And Lightburn is a paid software. You got a 30-day trial when you buy this machine. Now, how I would explain these two for you. Gerbl, the free software, is like MS Paint, and Lightburn is like Photoshop. So Gerbl is very rudimentary. I started with that. So basically, I downloaded all the software, installed everything, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the free software stuff because, you know me, I'll try to be on budget and everything. So I downloaded the free software. I learned how to use the free software. It was extremely fast to learn because there's barely anything you can do in it. And I messed up a lot of pieces testing and figuring out how it works. And after that, I made a couple of things in it. And then I was like, I want to make more advanced stuff like boxes and this and that. And I downloaded some files, and I realized that this little software can't handle it. So I installed, I started up the paid software. I started my trial, and I was blown away because it had solutions for every problem I had with like 1 or 2 clicks. Now, mind you, I am a trained Photoshop educator. I teach people how to use Photoshop. I teach people how to use 3D softwares. I used to do 3D animation and 3D modeling. Thus, I have quite an extensive experience and knowledge on how to use these softwares. So learning a new software for me, it is actually very fast, and I can think on 3 axes, like X, Y, and Z axis. So I can think in 3 dimensions and 2 dimensions in my head. Anyway, I digress. What I'm saying is, because I know a little bit of photo editing, the Paste software was much easier for me to learn, and I think the hardest part in laser engraving is to learn the software, learn how to use it, learn what to do, and how to achieve the result you want to achieve. Yes, so I think the hardest part is learning the software, what to do with the software, and how to solve your problems with the software to get the exact results you want from the software. I think this entire laser engraving hobby is 70% learning how to utilize the engraver software or the editor software to achieve the results you want with the machine, and the last 30% is how to set up the machine, how to maintain the machine and use the machine properly. And that's basically all you need to know. That's basically all the things you need to actually start making things. Now, I have a few notes here on how to use the software. Basically, I want you to understand that if you want to engrave something onto a piece of wood, the engraver, doesn't matter if you use this or anything else, it works like a dot matrix printer, but instead of ink, it spits out fire onto the material, okay? Now, and in grayscale per se, okay? Because it doesn't have colors, obviously it's fire. So how you set up things for it, you know when you make a picture with your phone and you want to edit the picture, you edit the brightness of the picture, the saturation, and how vivid the colors are, the white balance, because something is very dark, something is very bright, and you want to adjust it out, you know, to get this depth into your picture. Basically, you do the same thing with the laser engraver softwares, but in grayscale. So you don't have to worry about colors, just worry about the grayscale of things, like how they pop. And that is basically it. And then you adjust how the laser cuts it into like a straight line, or use dots, or use different kind of dots. Anyway, that's in-depth stuff. But basically, that's how you do it. Like, adjust the picture, put it on. Now, if you want to downsize a huge picture, that is where you get into trouble. And I want to explain you why. You know, I make these Egina turtle things. This is the coin of Egina. It was minted 6000 BC, and this was the first minted coin of the modern civilization, and was minted here on Egina because this was the trade center of prehistoric era. Long story short. Anyway, this turtle is very important to us on the island. It's on our flag, and this represents the history of our island. Anyhow, I have a little bird called Egina here. And you know, there's a little space, the hole in the A. I call it the A hole. And I have this picture, and this is an 8K picture. And when you shrink it down, you lose the details. Let me explain. You can't see the hole in the A here. This is one of the boxes I made. And this has the Egina logo in it. Here you can barely see the A-hole. And in the blue box, we have the big turtle, and this is kind of the original size, and now you can see the A-hole. And this is a PNG, this is a picture photo, not a vector photo. And I learned that if you want to get good details and you want to shrink down your picture, you have to make it a shrinkable picture. So anyway, you need to get into understanding how to edit photos. All I'm saying is, because you can mess up a lot. Okay, this is a unit specific thing I learned, and I want to tell you this. This is kind of a hack. So this unit, this laser unit, has the air blow here, coming in here. The center hole is where the laser comes out, and the other hole is where the air blows in. This is the cover. This is to make sure you don't get blind. And there is a hole in here, as you can see there. Now this hole, I thought it should face away from me. So basically that way, it should point that way. I done a few passes and I realized the whole thing got full with soot. So I realized that this hole, the purpose of this hole is to get the soot out from the unit. So the air blows in here and it blows out here and it pushes the soot out. So the whole head unit doesn't get too messy. And this is how I learned it. And I ruined the piece by learning it because I didn't know that you have to point it away. So the whole thing got like smooshed up and it was ugly as heck. Everything I made on these notes are basically things I looked up and I had to learn the hard way. I basically bought 40 of these sheets of plywood from my timber yard for 20 bucks. Okay. And I messed up like 30 something of them before I actually managed to make something out of them. And these are my experiences, you know, this is what I learned. And I'm telling you all this because I don't want you to waste so much money doing this. Anyhow, next up is, yeah, tighten the screws between passes. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Underscore, underscore, underscore. So basically, that was another thing I learned. When you use a laser like this engraver slides on a belt. It's a belt-driven engraver. So it goes like this, okay? And there's a little motor here, spins the belt. And if this belt is not tight enough, here, this thing will skid. What I mean by it, if you want this thing to be on this coordinate, it will move it here with this speed. But if the belt is not tight enough, it will slid like a half a millimeter this way, that way, because it moves like this, erratically. And I realized this when I had a picture engraved. The whole thing looked like it was coming through a CRT TV with an old VHS tape. You know, it was just all falling apart. And that's where I learned I have to make sure that this is tight as a drum every time I start the machine. The other thing I learned once I restarted the project, again with a new sheet, is that there is a screw holding this down on the Z-axis in a very specific position. So if it doesn't fall down onto the unit. And I set it up, you know, with this little metal bit, and I made sure that the distance is right and everything is groovy and everything is cool. And I tightened it and I ran it about like for 4 hours, right? And because I was engraving these turtles as a test, it went very erratically left and right. And it shook out the screw. And I made a bigger picture and the whole unit just blump, fell onto the wood and started burning through it. So I learned my lesson. Before every pass, before you hit start, make sure that everything is clean, everything is out the way, every screw is tightened down and there is nothing obstructing. You actually have to like pay attention to it, and you cannot do this on autopilot. Because there are like precautions you need to take, not in the manual, and it wasn't even in any tutorial. I had to learn it my way. Anyway, another thing I learned is the plywood. Now, I use 4mm plywood, and this thing bends in every possible direction, as you can see. So what I learned here is, and I learned this the hard way too, because I just applied it. I just put it here on the sheet, and I adjusted the laser to be on a very specific height. And when the laser got to the highest point, he actually touched the wood and pulled it away like this. I'm like, oh, drained another piece again. So then I realized, like, okay, I need to weigh these down. So what I do is I keep them over there. I bought like a stack of these, and I put a jar of epoxy on top, like a 5-6 kilo epoxy on top, to weigh it down, keep it flat as much as humanly possible. And because I'm a smart boy, I learned that I need to tape it to the sacrificial board as well, so it can't slide away. And then I started another project after ruining this one, and the whole thing started to go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Everything was fine, but it went so fast that the machine actually moved away from its position. So I learned another lesson. You have to tighten down the machine itself to the work table. So I got my small C-clamps from home, and I tightened down the machine to the actual table, so it doesn't move. Nice. Ruin one more piece, throw it away, start again. I started the project again, and then I realized, no, I actually stood up to do something, and I was clumsy, and I moved the metal tray like this. Just a little bit, mousing away or something. Anyway, I moved the little base tray for like a millimeter or something, and the whole thing went skewed again. So I learned that you have to actually glue down the base tray to the table. And I ran like 5 or 6 boards just to learn this. And it's okay, you know. You learn this only once, and then you know it. And once I made a few boxes like these guys, you know, this 2-compartment little box, my Tree of Life box, like that, I learned that this thing, this plywood, contains glue between the 2 wood layers, and when you cut through it, the glue dissolves and it just drips down onto the sacrificial tray, and it seeps into the bottom of the wood. And it gets very ugly and very nasty. And after every cutting and engraving, you have to clean the sacrificial sheet with isopropyl alcohol to remove the glue residue from it. Because otherwise it's going to be sticky and smelly, and it's not cool. Like, this is how my rag looks like after cleaning it up. So, yeah. Anyway, because all these things happened, and because I had to sellotape so many things down, I decided I will actually bite the bullet and buy the honeycomb tray for this specific thing. And the honeycomb tray cost $60 with expedited shipping, but it is actually a metal grill this thick, like this deep. Like, you can imagine it as a car radiator, right? So it has these fins. You put a piece on it, and it has a tray on the bottom, so the glue and all the residue drips down, and it doesn't mess up your art piece. And it's the exact size of this unit, so I can attach it to it, and I can just sellotape things on top of it just to keep it flat. I wanted to check if I can make one, so I went to the ironmonger, and I realized he doesn't have anything. And then I was thinking I might be able to buy these barbecue baking trays, but the problem with this thing is it can't handle the heat. It morphs because of the high temperature. So I was like, you know what, the time I waste on trying to make this tray and save $50 on it, I'm just gonna buy the bullet, buy the thing, you know, it's gonna solve the problems I have, so I don't have to actually spent like 25 minutes setting up the machine. Anyhow, so honeycomb tray, yeah, I had to buy that one too. And these are basically the main things I got out of the first week of learning how to use this thing. Now, I was thinking of making a tutorial video how to use the software, but I went on YouTube, and there are many much smarter people than me on YouTube explaining you, and have actual free courses on how to use these softwares and these engraving tools. And they explain it very nicely. So I don't want to be the 1010th person who is explaining you the same thing. There are actual valid and good stuff out there. So go watch them, give them a view, you know, subscribe to them, anything. We need to raise up the community and help each other out. So who actually give out good information, help them. I made these boxes, and these are going to be available on my web shop as well. It has this engraving in it, and I'm so happy about it. It looks so cool. The Tree of Life will be available on my web shop, and everything I make is gonna cost 29 bucks a pop, plus shipping, and it's under half a kilo, so the shipping shouldn't be too expensive. On it, I ship globally, and this is the way you can support the channel. You can buy resin pieces from me, art pieces from me, or anything from my web shop. I actually make with my own two hands, and everything I sell will have a nice turtle fridge magnet in it, because I use up the extra space of these pieces when I cut them out, so they will come with the fridge magnet because they belong together. All I'm saying is, if you want to help me out or help the channel grow, please subscribe, like the video, or share the video. That helps a lot. You can support me on buymeacoffee.com. You know, you can throw money at my face like, here, idiot, have a coffee or something. Or like to become a monthly supporter, like throw $5 at my face every month. That actually helps out. Or you can buy some stuff from me for your friends and family. And yeah, many of you already bought stuff from me, so thank you so much. So shameless self-plug is over. Also, I wanted to point out, or I wanted to talk about something personal relating to the channel. Some of you already know I'm a single man again. My fiance left me after 7 years, and now I am restarting my painting and decorating business because I don't want to downsize my life. I need to increase my revenue. Thus, in the mornings, I'm working as a painter and decorator, and in the evenings, I'm here in the shop trying to make a buck. And in between these times, I'm making YouTube videos. What I'm trying to say is that the videos are going to be less frequent than they were before, because I'm working instead of 2 people now to keep myself afloat. Thank you very much for the well wishes and positive thoughts and the things you say. I find it really hard to accept help and accept emotional support, and I don't know how to say thank you very well, but I see everything you write to me, and I got every email and message, and I'm eternally grateful to have you guys as my AeginaCraft YouTube family. I know it's parasocial and all that, but still, I'm so happy that we can hang out and we help each other out and empower each other and help each other through the hard times, you know. So yeah, just wanted to apologize because I don't put out as many videos as I used to, and you support me monthly, or you pay money on my coffee or anything, and the entertainment is a little bit lower than it used to be. So, but I will work on it to get it back up to snuff. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for standing by me all this time. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see out of this machine. I can make how it's made videos from the beginning to the end. If you're interested in that, I can do how to color them, how to paint them, I can do whatever. You know, just give me some ideas. Give me what you want to do. What you want to see. What you want to view. Okay. Please sound down in the comments. I would be eternally grateful to learn what you think we should do with this thing. Okay. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. That was enough for me talking. I love you guys dearly, and I really hope you got something out of this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one, or on the Sunday live streams. Anyway, bye.